Democratic Congressman Gerry Connolly, a member of the House Oversight Committee who was part of the questioning of Michael Cohen yesterday. Congressman, nice to see you, sir. Much appreciated.
Great to be with you, Chuck.
Let me start. Last night, you said to Lawrence O'Donnell that the president committed a crime.
Yes.
Let me just put it up the Constitution here. Impeachment Article 2, Section 4. The president, vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Obviously, the Constitution has a way to handle when a sitting president commits a crime. Do you feel as if you are almost duty-bound to follow the Constitution, or should the political argument about whether the country can handle impeachment be a part of this process?
I think it's a little bit of both. Clearly, I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and I take that very seriously. I think we are moving into territory that is very perilous for the president and cannot be ignored by the Congress. However, we also have to build a case. That's what happened in Watergate. It took almost 2 years between the first hearings and ultimate action. And so you can't rush to judgment. You've got to have a methodical, evidence-based process that persuades the American people that this kind of action may be in our future. And so I think we're about that. And yesterday's hearing was the first, big step in that process.
I do think people hear the word impeachment and assume it's automatically about whether he stays in office or not. The impeachment process in the House is not about deciding whether he should leave office or not. It's deciding whether he did he commit crimes and should he be charged with them? And then the Senate can decide whether he stays in office. It seems to me, if you know the president committed a crime while in office, how do you not, you're the unofficial grand jury. You're the only thing there. You can't really investigate him in office, according to the Justice Department. So what else do you do?
Yeah, one minor correction, maybe not so minor, Chuck. I don't know that the Constitution requires that it has to be a crime. Crimes are certainly
it's
included.
whatever you decide it is. There's no doubt. Right. But
it's a legal and political process.
That's right. But you can't. The legal system can't prosecute the president while he's in office. That's the point here. You're the grand jury.
And I would argue, to your point, I'm not evading your point, when you have prima facie evidence of a crime being committed by the gentleman in the Oval Office, Congress cannot ignore that. You can't sweep that under the carpet. And so I think that's why the president is in grave peril today after yesterday's hearing and after today's closed hearing with Michael Cohen and the Intelligence Committee.
It's interesting. You've implied that you believe, look, it's a political process, so the public has to be on board on this. I think you heard Speaker Pelosi imply this. I guess the question is then, have you set the bar so high on Russia that if Russia doesn't produce it, you let all these other sort of minor crimes go because the one that everybody thought you were going to be investigating turned out to not have enough evidence to produce a conviction?
I think we provided some answer to that question yesterday. Russia was not a huge part of that 7-8 hour hearing. It was part of it, but by no means the essence of it. There were plenty of other activities that either came close to or crossed the line of being criminal in nature that we heard from Mr. Cohen describe. Your previous guest was talking about the standard of evidence. Remember, the word we're looking for here is conspiracy. There was a conspiracy, clearly, to violate the federal election law, and that involved individual number one, namely Donald Trump.
Your Republican colleagues, Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows, referred Michael Cohen to the Justice Department for potential perjury before your committee. They believe that he committed various lies during his testimony, including having to do with that lobbying deal that he had with that one foreign bank. Do you believe he perjured himself?
I don't believe he had any motive to perjure himself. In fact, I think what the Republicans were asserting yesterday, the opposite is actually true. He had nothing to gain by lying again to the United States Congress and everything to lose. And what you heard when you listened to the entirety of his testimony was a man clearly reflecting on the last 10 years of his life and asking, how did I get here? At one point, very poignantly, he turned to the Republicans saying, I was where you are. And how did it work out for me? You're taking a big risk going down the road you're going. And I would say that to Mr. Jordan and Mr. Meadows. You're living in a house of cards. And you'd better hope that house of cards doesn't just collapse.
Do you think there's an unintended consequence if Congress doesn't pursue this, that essentially if we say that it's up to the voters to decide whether we want that kind of behavior in office, and there's an argument to be made that it should be up to the voters, and maybe voters knew going in that he wasn't the most ethically top-notch kind of businessman that they might have thought. If you don't pursue it, what are the unintended? Have we given a permission slip for this kind of behavior going forward?
I think that's a real risk, and maybe the bigger risk, Chuck, is continued profound erosion in the institutions of our democracy. That's why Congress takes that oath and has to take it seriously, however inconvenient or uncomfortable it makes us. We have to protect the Constitution, and we cannot ignore evidence of wrongdoing and criminality.
Gerry Conley, Democrat from Virginia on the Oversight Committee. I imagine we'll be talking again soon. Thanks for coming on and sharing your views.
Anytime, Chuck.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.